What comes to mind when you think of Africa? Is it a single picture, or does it encompass a myriad of images? For many, Africa is imagined as a single entity. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. Africa is not one country, but a continent brimming with diversity. It's a tapestry of 54 distinct countries, each with its unique culture, language, and history. That's like bundling all of Europe, Asia, and the Americas into a singular unit. Sounds absurd, right? Take a moment to consider the economic landscape. There's a prevailing belief that Africa is synonymous with poverty. However, this is a gross misrepresentation. Yes, there are areas grappling with economic challenges, but there are also regions thriving with robust economies and burgeoning middle classes. Cities like Lagos, Nairobi, and Johannesburg are booming, rapidly morphing into global economic powerhouses. Similarly, the notion that Africa is a hotbed of conflicts and wars is a stereotype that needs debunking. Of course, there have been areas of conflict, as is the case in any part of the world. But the larger truth is that most of Africa is peaceful and stable, with nations prioritizing development and growth over disputes and disagreements. And what about the assumption that Africa is just about wildlife and safaris? While the continent's rich biodiversity is indeed a treasure, Africa is much more than the Big Five. It's also about teeming urban hubs, diverse landscapes, and rich cultural experiences. From the awe-inspiring pyramids of Egypt to the bustling markets of Marrakesh and the stunning beaches of Seychelles, Africa offers a breadth of experiences that defy generalization. Lastly, the notion that Africa is ailing with diseases like malaria and HIV/AIDS is another stereotype that deserves scrutiny. While these health challenges exist, they don't define the entire continent. Many African countries are making significant strides in public health, with robust initiatives to keep their populations healthy. Africa is not a monolith. It's a vibrant tapestry of varying cultures, languages, and histories. It's time we move beyond the stereotypes and embrace the multifaceted nature of this remarkable continent. Do you imagine Africa as a vast wilderness filled with wild animals and small villages? If so, you may want to rethink. Africa is a continent of contrasts, where tradition meets modernity in a symphony of sights and sounds. Amidst the savannas, jungles, and deserts, the urban pulse of Africa beats strong and vibrant. Cities are sprouting and expanding, becoming hubs of economic activity and cultural exchange. Take Lagos, Nigeria's bustling metropolis. With a population swelling into the tens of millions, it's a city that never sleeps. Or consider Johannesburg in South Africa, a city that marries modern architecture with rich historical heritage, pulsating with an energy that is palpable. Africa's urbanization is not just about the rise of metropolises, it's about the transformation of lifestyles, the evolution of societies. The cities are teeming with cafes, restaurants, and shopping malls. There's a burgeoning middle class, increasingly cosmopolitan, tech-savvy, and connected to the global economy. But it's not just the cityscapes that are diverse. Africa's natural landscapes are equally captivating. From the serene beaches of Zanzibar to the towering peaks of Mount Kilimanjaro, there's a variety that is truly breathtaking. Each landscape, each city, tells a different tale, showcasing the continent's multifaceted charm. Africa's urban pulse is not about erasing its roots. Quite the contrary. It's about harmoniously blending the old and the new. Traditional markets still thrum with life, nestled comfortably amidst skyscrapers. Street vendors peddle their wares, adding a splash of color, a dash of vibrancy to the urban fabric. So let's move beyond the stereotypes. Let's recognize Africa for what it truly is, a continent of diversity and dynamism, of tradition and modernity. A place where cities buzz with activity and landscapes breathe tranquility. A place that's as much about the roar of the lion in the wilderness as it is about the hum of traffic in its cities. Africa's urban landscapes are as diverse and vibrant as its wilderness, each telling a unique story. Have you ever pondered over the health and education scenario in Africa? It's a question that invites us to delve deeper, to look beyond the stereotypes and misconceptions. You see, there's a common narrative that paints a picture of Africa as a continent plagued with diseases and a lack of education. But is that the full story? Let's explore. Yes, it's no secret that health challenges like malaria and HIV/AIDS are prevalent in some parts of Africa. Yet it's not the entirety of Africa's health landscape. In fact, many African nations are making significant strides in improving health facilities. They're investing in hospitals, training medical professionals, and harnessing technology to provide better health care. They're also collaborating with international organizations to combat diseases and epidemics. So, the narrative of a sick Africa? It's not quite accurate. When it comes to education, Africa is a continent on the rise. Gone are the days when the African child had limited access to education. Today, the importance given to education in Africa is palpable. Governments are investing in school infrastructures, teacher training, and educational programs. The result? Rising literacy rates and a young generation eager to learn and innovate. But it's not just about formal education. Africa is a hub of informal learning too, with its rich oral traditions and community learning practices. This blend of formal and informal education is shaping a unique African educational landscape, one that values both knowledge and wisdom. So what's the real story of health and education in Africa? It's a story of resilience, of efforts to combat health challenges, of a commitment to education. It's a story of progress and not just problems. It's a story that's being written by Africans themselves, through their hard work and determination. The narrative of health and education in Africa is changing, with a determined focus on progress and improvement. So the next time you think about Africa, remember this narrative. Remember the progress, the resilience, and the determination. After all, Africa is not a problem to be solved, but a continent on the rise. Can you fathom the depth of cultural diversity in Africa? Imagine a kaleidoscope of cultures, a vibrant and dynamic tapestry woven with threads of different colors, patterns, and textures. This is Africa, a continent that is as varied as it is vast, as diverse as it is deep. It's not unusual to hear about Africa as though it's one single entity, one culture, one people. The reality, however, is far from this homogeneous portrayal. Africa is a continent of 54 countries, each with its own unique blend of cultures, languages, and traditions. Picture this: over 2,000 languages spoken across the continent, 2,000 ways of saying hello, 2,000 ways of expressing love, joy, and sorrow. Each language is a unique window into a distinct culture, a way of life, a worldview, and the traditions. From the intricate beadwork of the Maasai in Kenya to the vibrant dance styles of the Zulu in South Africa, from the grand Gerwal festival of the Wodabe in Niger to the ancient rock paintings of the San people in southern Africa, each tradition is a thread in the cultural tapestry of Africa, a testament to the creative spirit and resilience of its people. But why does this matter? Well, understanding the cultural diversity of Africa is crucial in challenging the stereotypes and misconceptions that often dominate discussions about the continent. It's about recognizing that Africa is not a monolith, but a mosaic of cultures, each with its own richness and complexity. It's about celebrating the fact that Africa is not a single story, but a collection of narratives, each as compelling and captivating as the next. It's about appreciating the cultural richness of Africa, not as an exotic spectacle, but as an integral part of the global cultural heritage. So the next time you think of Africa, remember the kaleidoscope of cultures that it represents. Remember the multitude of languages spoken, the unique traditions practiced, and the vibrant tapestry of cultures that it embodies. The cultural richness of Africa is a testament to its diversity, a vibrant symphony of languages, traditions, and customs. This is Africa, a continent that is as diverse as it is beautiful, as vibrant as it is resilient. Do you believe Africa needs saving by other countries? If so, you're in for a surprise. Africa, a continent rich in history, culture, and resources, has been continually demonstrating its capacity for self-sufficiency and agency. The notion of Africa as a continent dependent on foreign aid is not only outdated, but also fundamentally flawed. Africa is not a passive recipient of aid. Rather, it is an active participant in shaping its own destiny. Many countries in Africa are tirelessly working towards sustainable development and progress. They're investing in education, health, infrastructure, and technology, laying the foundation for a prosperous future. They're reformulating economic policies to foster entrepreneurship, creating an environment conducive for businesses to thrive. Take Rwanda as an example. Once associated with a devastating genocide, Rwanda has made remarkable strides in the past 2 decades. It's one of the fastest-growing economies in Central Africa, with a strong focus on technological innovation and environmental sustainability. Or consider Ethiopia. Despite its challenges, Ethiopia has been consistently registering robust economic growth, driven by investments in infrastructure and a burgeoning manufacturing sector. Even in countries where progress is slower, the spirit of self-reliance is palpable. Local initiatives are sprouting up across the continent, tackling issues from clean water access to quality education. These grassroots efforts, driven by Africans for Africans, are making a tangible difference in people's lives. Africa is also embracing the digital revolution. From Kenya's thriving tech scene to Nigeria's booming film industry, Africa is showcasing its creativity and innovation to the world. Africans are not waiting for the world to solve their problems, they're leveraging technology to create homegrown solutions. Yes, Africa still faces challenges. Yes, it still has a long way to go. But it's important to remember that progress is not linear. It's a journey fraught with hurdles and setbacks, but also filled with victories and triumphs. Africa is not a continent that needs saving. It's a continent that's rising, evolving, and transforming, fueled by the resilience and determination of its people. Africa is rising, charting its own path of progress and prosperity with a spirit of self-reliance,